This is surprising. So the humanitarian port that President Biden wants to build off the shores of Gaza was actually Netanyahu's idea. And this is an exclusive. This is from the Jerusalem Post. The Gaza Humanitarian port was Netanyahu's idea from the jump. And this article proves that from the Jerusalem Post. And I'll read the headline. It says, diplomatic source to the Post, Gaza maritime route was Netanyahu's idea, and this is an exclusive. I haven't seen it reported on anywhere else. I tried to check for some other reporting. Right here we go. The plan for a maritime route to Gaza via Cyprus to provide humanitarian assistance for Palestinians was initiated by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in collaboration with U.S. President Joe Biden. A senior diplomat source told the Jerusalem Post on Sunday, quote, Netanyahu took the initiative to establish maritime humanitarian aid for the civilian population in Gaza Strip in collaboration with the Biden administration, a source stated. According to the source, on October 22nd, 2 weeks following the war's breakout, Netanyahu, this is 2 weeks after October 7th, Netanyahu discussed with President Biden the concept of, quote, delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza via sea, contingent on an Israeli inspection in Cyprus. Quote, then on October 31st, Prime Minister Netanyahu outlined this strategy to the Cyprus president. I'll just leave it there. The source added, in addition, quote, the matter was revisited on January 19th during a dialogue between Prime Minister Netanyahu and the President of the United States, where Netanyahu proposed, according to the source, quote, I want to suggest setting up a team to explore maritime supply through Cyprus after a thorough inspection of all goods. This source, close to the prime minister, insinuated that Biden was simply implementing a plan by Netanyahu, not actually initiating anything new. So the Biden administration is selling us on, oh, I'm hearing you guys. I heard your voices in Dearborn. I heard your voices in Michigan. I heard the uncommitted voice. And this is the plan I came up with. The plan that Netanyahu suggested back in October of 2023. And then again brought it back in January. That's what they're trying to sell us on now. Let's continue. The source spoke with the Jerusalem Post at a time of heightened diplomatic tensions between Biden and Netanyahu, as the U.S. president has sought to distance himself from the Israeli prime minister as part of the 2024 re-election campaign. So maybe because President Biden is trying to distance himself from Netanyahu said, hey, go ahead and go leak that shit about that plan, the maritime plan that he's trying to take credit for. Yeah, leak that to the Jerusalem Post. Maybe, just saying. Biden made headlines at his State of the Union address to Congress last Thursday when he announced that the U.S. military planned to build an emergency temporary port off the Gaza coastline to help facilitate entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. He made the statement in the light of hunger crisis in Gaza and to underscore the U.S. commitment to helping the Palestinian people during Israel's military campaign to destroy Hamas. The move was viewed as a criticism. Remember, he was trying to position it as, oh, you don't want to give them humanitarian aid? Well, I'm going to do this. They try to position it that way. Like, I'm doing this as a criticism for you not letting aid in, but it's not. The move was also viewed as a criticism of Netanyahu by the U.S., by the United States. with Biden stating in his speech on Thursday that Israel could and should do more to help Palestinians in Gaza. Years before the Gaza war, Israel Katz, now the foreign minister, had drawn up plans for a maritime route via Cyprus involving a floating island. So this is an old idea being recycled. The project was never executed, but he viewed it after the war began in October 7th. One of the complicating factors with a maritime route was the absence of a port in Gaza, but enough to handle cargo ships. Big enough to handle cargo ships. Israel has welcomed Biden's announcement of a military operation to build a temporary port. The defense minister of Israel, together with the Navy commander, the head of the COGAT, military secretary, and commander of Navy, were briefed Sunday on the work needed to establish a naval pier and routes that will enable the distribution of aid to civilians. So that's the backstory on how this idea came about. It is not in response. They didn't listen to the protests and came up with this. This wasn't a counter to Netanyahu. This is an idea that has been floating around apparently in the Israeli government and most recently by Netanyahu. There you go.